Hello, everyone. Welcome back this Tuesday evening. It is No Makeup Tuesday this week. Hello, Gretchen, Sherry, Brandon, Denise, Jen, Laura. Hello, everyone. Hello, OP. Hello, Cheryl. Yes, on the husband's retirement. Yes, his last day of work is actually tomorrow. Can you even believe it? So let me tell you a little bit about what happened. Yes, Lindsay, back to crafting. What happened yesterday? Long story. But those of you that have any knowledge, maybe, of the military will totally get this. So we all get ready, right, to go because you have to be there on time, do all the things. Right before we're due to leave, the flight gets canceled because of bad maintenance issues. So while my husband was incredibly sad and bummed, and the whole family was, because it's a big tradition to do this, to go out and whether you're moving to a new base or retiring or whatever, it's a big tradition to do this. So super bummed. However, we had already invited all of our friends and people we know to go out and do this with us. So we ended up taking them all out to dinner to celebrate last night. So it ended up being a fun day, just hanging out with friends and everybody that was going to go out and go to the base to celebrate with us. However, it was a little sad. So my husband is super bummed because, he's not getting that final little send off, but it is what it is. And that is just part of the military life. It's just part of it, unfortunately. So let's see. Is he done working or moving on to the private station? Yes, he is moving into the real world, is what we call it. He's moving into the private sector. So those of you that don't know, he is a search and rescue helicopter pilot in the Air Force, and he is transferring out into a job that will be flying helicopters, but for like the hospitals and things like that, when super sick people or super injured people need to be transported by air. That's what he is going to do. So yay, yes, thank you. So we're super excited not tomorrow, because today's Tuesday. I'm thinking today is Wednesday. Thursday is his last day, and then I have a whole honey-do list ready for him. He's not going to know what hit him, so there's that. So anyway, we have a little bit of time. Hello. Yes, exactly. Susan says Lifestar. Yeah, there's lots of different companies, and honestly, I couldn't tell you which one it is. I just oh, that's so great, yoo-hoo. And he's going to continue to enjoy flying. It's just a different job, right? So, all right. Anywhoobs, let's get to, we're staying here, Sherry. Yeah, we're staying here. We have a daughter, and a young adult daughter in college that's getting ready to transfer to the University of South Carolina. We have a young son who is in 6th grade, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So, yep, we can finally pick where we live. Exactly. All right, you guys. So let's go down and let's do a little recap of what we've seen and done so far. I'm going to share the card that was made in the video that you may have checked out on our YouTube channel today. And then I'm going to introduce you to the Queen of Hearts. So I'm going to go down here to my desk view, and Lisa and I worked on my camera today because it was acting silly. You guys were telling me that it was a little bit fuzzy. So I'm hoping that it looks better. So you guys are going to have to tell me in the comments over there if it looks any better. Okay, so lovely layers, love wins. It is the sweet little and that word that this thing is just totally left my old brain. Slot machine. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys ever do that or not, but words just are completely gone. They're gone. So the sentiments actually come with this set. There are several different sentiments. There are different little little lights and things that you can add in and all kinds of fun stuff. So super cute, super fun to put together. And you guys had some amazing ideas on using stamped images in the little windows, different little die cuts, things like that. So this is the lovely Layers Love Wins slot machine. I'm going to get that right this time. Okay. And then last week you saw the playing cards, lovely Layers playing cards. And I created this cute little card out of our playing cards. Lots of different ways that you can set these up and use these, whether you're doing a masculine set, whether you want to cut out pattern paper and have like fun pattern paper back here for like the back side of the card. You can totally use all the numbers. All the numbers are provided in this die set. And so you could do like the little birthday, like the number, let's say like I have a 2 and a 5. So if somebody was turning 25 or 80 or 50 or whatever, 50 would be super cute with like some black and silver cards or you know, something like that. But you can zhuzh these up and have fun with these. And so fun. Now, the sentiment, the lucky pair sentiment also comes in this lovely Layers playing card set. So that is a fun one as well. Now, in the video, I used the red rubber stamp set called Royal Flush. And this was a fun one to use. I did the fun little pop-up card on the inside because I had so much fun coloring all the images. I was like, I have to use all these little cards. And so I made the little, like you've got your cards spread out in your hand. I just added that little, you know, fan of cards right on the inside. Super fun. These were the red. If you watch that video, I went through a little bit of a learning curve. And if you check that out, I kind of talk you through like my thoughts and things on coloring these. The cards were super easy. So, but yeah, you could stamp these in black and color them in with your Copic markers. I tried to get a little fancy, and you guys know me. Like, I tried to get a little fancy and had to like walk myself through how I was going to get the look that I wanted. So a little bit of crazy, a little bit of Kelly craziness, but we got it done. And I think it turned out super cute. All right. So tonight we have the super adorable Queen of Hearts. Now, I want you to think vintage Valentine. Let's see here. I know all of you have seen the cute little Valentines that have the dogs, the little girls, the little froofy dresses. That was our inspiration, Lisa, and mainly Lisa's, with the Queen of Hearts. So as you can see here, we've got our cute little Queen of Hearts, and she's super sweet. You color her anyway, and she pops out. So if you wanted just to make like a cute little summertime card, Mother's Day, anything like that, you can pop her out and not have to use like this frame. Now the hearts also pop out and the sentiment pops out. So again, you can pick and choose what part of this red rubber set you want to use, right? And so you're going to get it. It looks just like this. And then all the little pieces, so I haven't even popped the hearts out yet, are super easy just to pop out and then pop back in. Now, I thought it would be fun this evening. Oh, let me show you what it looks like when she's stamped. Look how cute she is. Cutie patootie. You guys know that we at Honeybee, we like our vintage. I should say a little bit, but a lot of it. We like our vintage a lot of it. So we thought this was a sweet little addition. I am going to take you through the process, and I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not, but I thought it might be fun, of how I am going to stamp her on watercolor paper. Could you stamp her in Copic friendly ink? Absolutely. Let me get up here so we can like have a little combo. Could you stamp her in Copic friendly ink? Absolutely. Color her with Copics, color her with colored pencils. I'm going to play a little bit this evening. I'm going to stamp her in VersaFine because we're going to do my little pretend like I know how to watercolor when I pretend. So you could use, I'm going to use Tombow markers, but you could use your Distress inks, your re-inkers, anything you wanted to do. So as I go through this, I'm going to lay her down. I just have some very inexpensive watercolor paper. Let me think of what the brand is. It's the Blue Pad. It's not coming to my brain right now. But very inexpensive. And it has a smooth side on it, and then it's got the bumpy side like watercolor paper. And I'm going to use the smooth side because I find that it's a little bit easier to get into and paint her up. So I'm going to see how much I can get done of this, going from doing nothing. Normally, you guys know that I've got it prepped for our lives. But I thought I'd show you how much fun it is just to stamp this and then go into the process of how I color. So I hope that interests you. So I'm going to go back here and we're going to stamp her. Now I mentioned I'm going to stamp her in VersaFine ink. If you wanted to do like a no line watercolor, you could totally do that. I am not your girl for that. You guys know that I'm like the quick, easy, whatever's going to make it easier on myself. So I'm going to ink up this beautiful little gal that we have here. And make sure we got pretty good coverage. Now, I noticed when playing with her today and kind of testing my markers that this is one red rubber stamp that you do not want to apply a lot of pressure to. All you have to do is just give her a little tap, tap, tap across, kind of like so, because I want those nice, fine little lined details. Do you see how well that's stamped on the first go around? Now, let me show you on my trial sheet. This is what happened when I pressed too hard and added too much pressure to her. Do you see how I was like, oh my goodness, that is just, my lines are so fat. But then I was like, okay, let me tap, tap, tap. You can see I made a mess testing colors. Much better. Do you see how fine and dainty the little details got? So don't be afraid to play around with your stamps, even sentiments, even red rubber, where normally I would say, oh, it's red rubber. Like, go ahead and add a bunch of pressure to that. You know, I think it depends. I'm going to give her little details right up here. One more little tap. I think it depends on all the little details that are in our stamps, right? On how big, bold you want it, or maybe it does not take all the muscles to get that image stamped down. All right, I'm going to take her out. Now, before I start any kind of coloring, and this goes for Copic friendly ink or watercolor, I always, always, always try to set my ink with my heat tool because I don't want to run the risk of getting this beautiful image and then the black smearing when I go to paint her. Yes, there are dyes. I'll show you. Good question. I got so excited about our little girl here that I totally forgot to show you the dyes. Let me get her all toasty here. And then I'll show you. Okay, dyes, Kelly. All right, here we go. So there is her little frame. I've been calling this her little frame. And if I flip it over, so there is a die. If you want to stamp her just like, let's see what Kelly did with her. If you want to stamp her just like this, you can absolutely pop all those little pieces into that red rubber background and stamp it all together. Now, this is going to be a little larger than your standard A2 size card. Let me do a measure for you. It is about 4 3/4 wide by About, let's see here, 6 1/4-ish. So if you want to do a big like 5x7 card and use the frame and all that good stuff, amazing. You can also use the frame, like this sweet little frame, because all of this pops out. You can use the frame but not have the girl in there. Does that make sense? Let me show you. So if you popped out Queen of Hearts, let's pop that out. If you popped out these little hearts on the sides, popped out this little guy and this little guy, and you wanted to use and stamp just the frame, let me get the red rubber to release there. All it's going to stamp are the pretty little roses and the bows, right? So you could build a lovely layers, like our little potted roses, or a lovely layers, whatever in here, the little birds, anything would be really sweet in here. Stamp this in blue or red or pink or yellow, you know, the sky is the limit. And then you've just got a really pretty little frame that you can use for lots of different things, just to add that little pizzazz to the sides of your cards, right? So we've got that's going to cut out the whole framed background. We've got the die, of course, she's on her head here, but we've got the die for the little girl, die for all the little hearts, and then the die for the sentiment as well that is in the coordinating die set. So I love that you can use it all together. You can peel out the pieces and just use the frame. Lots of different options here, right? Okay, so I have saved my little acetate piece. This is the nice sturdy piece of plastic that your red rubber comes stuck to. I'm going to use that as like my little paint palette here. Okay, and this is what I like to do. I'm going to start out. Let me kind of zoom in for you just a little bit. Okay, or a lot of it. I like to make myself a little starting point, and I always follow all the lines that the artist has given me. I can kind of go and trace around her skirt, and this is just a kind of a blushy pink, but how pretty would she be, you know, in the springtime with a yellow or something like that? I'm going to start like this, and if you want to add a little bit more color, but there's not a whole lot of, you know, thinking that needs to go into this. And then I'm going to take my very ugly paintbrush. Don't judge me on my paintbrushes. And it is wet. And I'm just going to drag it down. Drag, 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 wet that color. And then we're going to pull, pull, pull. My paintbrushes are so sad. This used to be, it was an expensive paintbrush. And between my daughter and I, we've trashed it. My daughter paints as well, but all of our paintbrushes have a funny little curve in it. Okay, now if you'll notice, I've got the light pink like right down in here, but it's really not spreading. Like I love this up here. It really hasn't spread down into here like I would like it. So instead of, you know, going with your markers again or something like that, that is where I would take like my little piece of acetate here. Get some, let me move my little dishes over here. Get my paintbrush and pick it up this way, because you're going to have a lot more control over how light or dark the pigment is by scribbling it off first. But if you're going to use like your re-inkers or your distress inks or something like that, you know, you're going to squish it down onto a mat or something like that anyway. So I have pulled that color down. Let me give you a little tilt. In real life, it is darker up here, and I know my lights don't really do it justice. And then it is a nice fade down here where her little crinoline and all her fun stuff kind of puddles down. Now for below the little scallops, I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay. So I'm just going to put a nice dark line. I don't mind a dark line, you know, where like the pieces of fabric and things are going to meet. So I'm going to pull that down. Now I'm going to look here and I'm just going to kind of glance at the way that her little skirt is drawn. And you can see it waves in and out and in and out. You can kind of quickly tell what parts are going to be kind of tucked back in where you may want more color, right? So you can add a little bit there. And this goes for your Copic markers. If you're using those, let's add some color like this on kind of where we're getting some little wrinkles in her skirt and where it's gathering around like so. I can kind of go down the edge and let's pull this down just a hair like so, right? Now for these little gathers, and you can see where the artist has added the shading in there for me. I'm not going to worry about doing my paintbrush in there. I'm going to take my little marker, and this is the nice thing about, you know, your watercolor markers or watercolor pencils even, is you can kind of like, and let's look right here where we've got those little gathered areas where we know it's going to be a little bit darker. You can kind of go in there and add. See how that just adds just a little something right in there. All right, so let's wet the brush again. And again, I'm just going to use my not fancy brush and literally drag down that color. So I'm telling you, anybody can do Kelly's pretend watercolor method here. Whoops. I'm going to pick up a little more water. I've got a little cloth sitting here that I kind of, you know, knock my little drips off on. And then we're just going to keep pulling it down. Keep pulling it down. Kind of get up and around. Just like that. And I can kind of smooth out if I have somewhere that's a little darker. Smooth out. Go right against her little hemline there. Just like so. And go right against her little hemline. And then anywhere that I want to add more pigment, I can go right in here into my little scribble area, pick up what's left on there, and then just give it a gentle little swoosh with that paintbrush. And I'm going to get right in here and I'm going to smooth out that dark line just a hair. Not all the way, because I like that the definition. Do you see where it left the little shading parts in her little skirt? And then just like the other pieces, if you wanted to go back in and add, you know, a little shading like in here where we've got the little shading lines or something like that, you can totally do that. Easy peasy. So like little bits here and there. Pull down from her sweet little skirt, and there we go. Okay, so that is it. See how fast that goes? All right, let me get up here. I want to watch my time. I don't want to keep you guys too long today. Okay, for her little top. So I would color in the whole back little puff back here of her sleeve. And then, you know, just kind of go around and add just a little bit of color. That way, when we go in with our paintbrush, we can just drag it and kind of fade it out. Now for her belt, I'm going to do and just color it in with the pencil or with the pen. Just like so. Same thing with here, her little bodice. I'm going to get most of her little belly covered down in here because she has her hand, her little gloved hand right there. I can add a little bit here, maybe here, and then I'm going to pull all that up. I'm going to grab a smaller paintbrush because I'm working in a little bit of a smaller area. And again, I'm just going to drag it out. More water. Too much water. All right, too much water. Let me show you what I do. Just a little dab. Just, don't scrub it. Don't do anything like that. But if you need to pick up a little bit, paper towel, little bit of water, and I'm just going to barely pull this up. I kind of want her little bodice here to be a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go right over the top, smooth out her little belly here. That would be a little darker. Now let's pull it down on her sleeves. Like that. Too much water. Straight down, straight up. And it lightens the water, and it also is going to pull up just a hair of the pigment. I don't mind. I like the way we're looking here. Okay, now I want her little chest area up here to be a little bit darker. So that's where I'm going to pick up, instead of with the marker, I'm going to pick it up off of the acetate over here. See my little scribble that I have left? So I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to start down here by her little gloves. Just add just the lightest little touch of a little bit more color up here, just to make her little bodice just a little bit darker. You go in here. Go in here. Okay, now she has like a lacy, maybe a tulle neck. She either has it going all the way up, or she has a little choker on. We could do our little girl either way. I think I'm going to color it like she's got a little choker on. So I'm just going to take the marker and go just like that. And then I'm actually going to take, let's see how I want to do this. I'm going to take the marker and I'm going to add a big bold line right here. Just like so. And then again, it's going to stay dark right there, but I'm going to pull that pigment down into her little lacy scallops. One time, I think it was Dawn Holslegel that I was watching on a live, I believe it was a live watercolor. She used to go live more often probably than she does now. She's a busy lady. But I was watching her watercolor live. Dawn is like, she's a true watercolor artist, not like me trying to pretend to be Dawn when I grow up. But her brush looked like mine. And I thought she had bought like some fancy watercolor brush that was curved to like help her get into all the little nooks and crannies. And so I asked during the live, I was like, oh, where did you get that brush? And like, how did you get the curve into that? And she was like, oh no, Kelly. She's like, that's just from leaving it in your water cup like this and, letting it dry or whatever. Okay. So I'm going to take my dark marker again. I think I'm going to go ahead and color her shoes. We're going to be a little matchy here. I think I'm going to color her little shoes where it would be the darkest of this shade, because we're going straight from the marker. Just like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing with like this little trim line here, and it's going to be the dark. And let me tell you, I'm going to get that pigment. I go over it a couple of times and get that as dark as I can. Just like that. You'll notice that when I did my little trial, and the reason you'll notice, like, I have this big waste of paper over here, right? Well, when I Copic color or when I do projects like this, to me, it's like, it's not really a waste of paper. I like to do that because I test my colors. I'm not a Copic rule follower, and you can tell I'm not a watercolor rule follower, but I like to be able, you can see my hot mess here where I'm testing today. I like to test because a lot of times when you, even with distress inks and things like that, a lot of times when you pick a color and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fantabulous. Like all these pinks down here. Do you see how like, I was like, oh, this one might go, but this one, but when you take water to it, it's not going to turn out like you want it to, really. And a lot of times the pigments will kind of separate and you're like, oh, that is not the look that I'm going for here. These two colors right here that look very gray, the marker cap, and it actually looks like a skin tone. So I had trouble finding a skin tone for her because when you take water to it, then it turns, and you know, the pigments separate a little bit. So when you see my crazy little testers when I do that, that's why I do that, okay? All right, so her little outfit, we're looking very posh here. We're looking very good. So speaking of skin tone, this is the marker that I ended up choosing for her skin tone. She turns a little bit too peachy, I think, but it was the best I could do with the markers that I have, right? So I'm going to go right around her little face and under her chin, and then her arms, maybe hit her little elbow a little bit here. And I'm going to leave her like, oh, I need to get her little chest too. Oh, she's even got little collarbones. She is fancy schmancy. Let me get here. My goodness. Okay. Can y'all tell I'm enjoying myself just coloring away? This is what I do when I'm just in my room by myself. I'm just like, oh my goodness, she is so cute. Or no, that color does not look good on her. What are we going to do, girl? We got to make you look prettier than that. Okay, her face is a little bit light, but we're going to fix that. I'm going to go over her chest and pull that down off of her little collarbones, her fancy little collarbones there, and her little arms. Let's get those little arms. I'm going to pull them down. I'm going to leave her little gloves. I may go back with the pink and color in her little gloves. So she's got pink little gloves. Okay, so her face. It looks like I did nothing to her face on the screen, but I promise you it did, but I added too much water. So let's do the little trick. Let's add, and I know there's some pink up there, so I don't want it to mix. So here's my little skin tone. Let's see here. Okay, and I don't want it too wet because that's what got me, our little girl, into her face being a little too pale. And then let's just add in straight. There we go, girl. Straight from the little makeshift palette that we have. And now let's add a little bit down here onto her little chest. And now she's looking a little better. Now in real life, her little face and her little dress and stuff even is darker than what you're seeing it on the screen. Okay? All right. So let's color her little gloves. And I'm just going to go straight in with that pink. And let's go very carefully around her little fancy heart that she has. That way we're matching our shoes and our little choker. And I'm going to do her little crown. Just like that. And I'm going to dry her. Okay, now if I were to add like some little rosy cheeks or something to her, I would want to scribble this back down a little bit like so. And I'm going to take, where's my teeny tiny little brush? Here it is. I'm going to take this teensy tatsy little brush like so. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit. My daughter has ruined these brushes. I don't know that I want to use that. Let's pick another one. Okay. And I'm going to pick up just a little bit of that pink. And I'm just going to barely, like up here above her little smile, just a little dot of little rosy cheeks. Just a little hint. Oh, look at her. She is cute. She is cute. Okay, now I have colored and we have chatted for about 30 minutes. Okay, so this is what we can do. Normally, this is about where I'm finished with the card because we are all prepped and ready to go. So here's what I'll do. If it's okay with you guys, if you're enjoying this, so you let Lisa and I know in the comments. If you're liking this, I can finish her Monday. Tomorrow is the release party. But Monday, I can come back and show you how I would finish her if you're interested in that. If you're not, I'll finish her off camera and then I'll just show her to you. So you guys let me know, okay? Let's see here. All right, let's see how you're all doing. She is a styling queen. She is. We haven't even gotten to her little parasol and her little, we could use that as a fan. We could have it as a little Valentine. We could do all the little things. Yay, yes, Monday. Okay, Monday. All right, okay. Cool. So I thought we would do something a little bit different tonight so you could see like my whole, like from start to finish process, which normally you guys don't see because I don't like to take up all of your time. But okay, cool. We'll do that on Monday. And then tomorrow night, I'm so sorry that you have to sit with me for 2 nights in a row. Tomorrow night is the release party, and Lisa and Melissa and I would love for you to join us. We're going to do giveaways. You know how we do this. We're going to show the entire release, and there's also going to be another video on our YouTube channel tomorrow, a new product spotlight. So I hope you check that out. Okay, so Lisa, oh, Betsy, that's okay. I'll forgive you, Betsy. Release party is at, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Okay? So Lisa, if you will give us our winner for this evening, and as I always say, best time to win a little gift card, because then you can turn around and spend it on the new release, right? Okay? So she's going to pull that while we're finishing up here. Thank you guys for joining me on an odd night and being so flexible. You guys, again, have shown us that you're the nicest people in the crafting world. I love it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see all of your sweet comments. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see if my boss lady is here while I take a swig of my Diet Dr. Pepper. Oh, thank you, Betsy. Need popcorn. Yes. Maybe since it's like perfect match, maybe we need a martini or a Cosmo. I don't know. How fancy are we? All right. Amy Clark, you are the winner. I grew up with a girl named Amy Clark. Amy Clark, you are the winner. Amy, if you will email me right here, customercare@honeybeestamps.com, I am going to send you a gift card. And so congratulations to our friend Amy. Congrats, Amy. Thank you all for joining me. And then don't forget, tomorrow night is our release party. So we will see you then, okay? Bye.